Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining the second ENPOR thematic seminar. ENPOR is a European Union funded program from the Horizon 2020, and its aim is to alleviate energy poverty in the private rented sector. In these thematic seminars, the aim is to help policymakers, practitioners, energy agencies, stakeholders in understanding how to tackle specific elements of the energy poverty and energy efficiency upgrades as a means to alleviate energy poverty in this specific private rented sector. Today, we are going to have some interesting presentations from the field work from our colleagues in various countries on how to reach out to tenants. Always, we have this issue of the split incentive and between the landlords and the tenants, and the policies are often addressed mainly at the landlords or sometimes at the tenants, but it's quite hard always to reach at the tenants and understand and engage them, let's say, in all this process of energy efficiency upgrades. We're testing within ENPOR some policies in the countries that you see here, and the partners are in several countries, and also they consist of energy agencies, universities, the association of property owners. Now, the point is that we're mainly working based on what the EU and the current EU legislation is coming up. As you know, we have quite diverse directives and recasts of directives coming up from the EPPD, the new ED, where there are explicit references now to the phenomenon of energy poverty, and there are specific targets and suggestions on how to tackle energy poverty through energy efficiency upgrades. Within that, we know that the forthcoming, let's say, national energy and climate plans need to have specific targets for the energy poor groups. And here, what we try to do is we try to influence also all the member states in identifying specific policies or specific types of policies, or within the existing policies, some targeting on the private rented sector itself. Why it's important, the private rented sector? We know that 1 out of 10 people spend more than 40% of their income in housing costs. We have had these high numbers increasing also within the energy crisis. Now the numbers are striking. The size of the private rented sectors is it's increasing over the course of time, even in the traditionally home-owning societies. And with the wider cross-section of society renting for longer, there are also ethnicity, race, class, and gender issues. And there is increased discrimination and precarity in the private rented sector. And we would say from what we have seen in all the countries that the private rented sector has the poorest energy performance in terms of building and the housing stock. And this is why we consider this as a key challenge to improve the energy performance. With this thematic seminar today, we will try to focus on how to reach the energy poor households and how the energy poor tenants, in order to pass on knowledge of technical and behavioral energy saving measures, programs, funding streams, funds. And here we would like also to welcome the engagement of stakeholders, as we said before, policymakers, governing bodies, market players, tenants, to discuss openly and provide us afterwards with questions on what they would need to join such programs, such energy efficiency programs. We're going to present 4 interesting cases from field work, as we said, in Croatia, starting with Anamari Majdandžić from Greece, from Vicky Tzega from EKPIZO, which is a consumers association, from the Netherlands, from Martijn Rietbergen, and then from ZES, from Paula Damaška on the crowdfunding for energy boxes. Please keep your questions. You can also send the questions here in chat. We'll be moderating them, and we can have some discussion in the end of the seminar today. So I give the floor directly to Anamari.
Thank you, Vlasis. I will just share the screen and and put it in presentation mode. If you don't hear me very well, just say I have problem with my computer. So I think I will be fine for this 8 minutes at least. So I will just show you the Croatian approach, because ENPOR project, as it was said, it was private rented sector. And in Croatia, we are more country that is more owner than that are in private rented sector. And data are showing that in 2019, we have, let's say, 90% of the Croatian population that lives in their household that they are own, and only 10% that are in rented. And you can see the EU 27 data. It's really different in the. And I think that almost Croatia always is like third or fourth in the renting sector. Maybe we are just changing place with, let's say, Bulgaria, Romania in the percentage of the owners. But these data are kind of shadow data. They don't show the exact data. And I think that Paula, she's also from Croatia, she will like nod, because one of the NGO sector did the research, and they put the questions that actually put the data like, who owned the household? Like in Croatia, you move from your parents' house around 33 years old. But if someone knocks on your door and they have survey and they ask you, are you owner of the households? And your parents are, you will not say, yes, I own. But when they ask you, but who is on the paper, who is actually on, then you get data that it's their parents, that they live in joint households, that maybe they are 30 years old, they are helping them with paying the bills. And we are going to some kind of phrase that we connected for Croatia, and maybe it will be kind of could be moved to other countries, so-called free-based tenancy, meaning that you have two separate families, households living in the same dwelling, meaning that if you knock on the door on some rural area and there is one house, but probably they choose to make first floor for his parents, like his dad is living with his mother, maybe his let's sister, and he with family living in upper floor with his family. They have same dwelling, they are maybe sharing the expenses, but he's not owner of that household. He's not renting, probably he's not paying his parents the rent, but he is not owner and he's helping with, let's say, energy bills. This kind of unresolved issues with who is like, they didn't put the floors for the household. It's still like known as house, one house, and also some of the property legal relationship regarding that. A lot of Croatians didn't do the deeds on who is actually owner after they, let's say, grandparents died, and not only the grandparents, and like it's still ongoing. And this NGO that has done last year research actually showed that from 90% of the owners actually in Croatia, in Zagreb, they do it in city of Zagreb, it's said that 66% of the person are owners, and more than 40% are in the tenant or some kind of way of sharing the fee-based tenancies. So if you contact with EU 27, then we are more closer than the EU than the actually data are showing. This table is showing that we have some data about how the two really known indicators of energy poverty is dealing, and we can see that private rented sector with social housing is in a worse condition, and they are more probably having a problem with areas on utility bills or inability to keep their house warm. So what I'm going to show you is that how when DOOR become partners of this ENPOR project, we want to see this shadow data. Like we cannot create or co-design the policy that we said, like one of our KPI in this project is that we are going to co-design policy for renovation of the buildings or family houses or multi-apartment buildings, especially focus on private rented sector, if we don't know actually data about who is in private rented sector, who is in joint households living, and who is actually the owners. So when we start doing this project, we have another 4 projects going on, and we decide to do synergies, because in ENPOR project, we didn't foresee maybe doing some kind of a data analysis or going to the field, knocking on the households, but we did have 4 other projects. So we kind of get in these 2 years around 1,000 households and around 1 million citizens. It's Buševec project in Bušeko project in Buševec area. So it's a small rural area, and we conducted around 150 surveys. In POWERPOOR project, that's sister project to ENPOR, we have done the analysis of city of Križevci, where we conducted 257 household visits. EmpowerMed project, it's Mediterranean, focused on the woman, and we visit city of Zadar and Zadar County, around 200 household visits. And in EPAH, technical help, the city of Zagreb, as our capital city, we got this technical help for the city of Zagreb to create a program for combating energy poverty. And they, in that area, we visit 388 households. So main focus was to see energy consumption, energy poverty. But for ENPOR, we include this question like, are you owner of the households without the debt? Are you owner household with the credit, with the debt? Are you living in tenant landlord in the really known sense? Are you living in a joint household, so you are not paying rent, but you are not owner? Are you living in a household that is social housing, or are you living in a household that has problem with property legal issue? So we kind of include this ENPOR question that was not important for our partners in other countries, but for Croatia, we kind of had problem, and we had ENPOR project. We want to do better co-design the policy and need to know that. So what I'm going to show you now is that not all the data that we collect, because we are going to write paper about it, we collect a lot data, but do we have, did we reach those that we are assuming are people who citizens that are renting or that are live in a joint household? So first, our survey was in area of Buševec. As I said, this is a rural area, and we were actually amazed that we have 5 tenants, because this is really rural area. It's family houses, and probably you will not find them. And what we did with those data, because it was our first survey, we didn't include this kind of diversion in the like tenant owner with credit. We just used 3 terms, and these terms, other household members, actually, when you put it in the age group, you can see this gray line. It's showing you that if you live between 40 and 50 years and you are not owner, you are practically living in a joint household. So you are living with other members that are maybe older than you, like you are maybe the child and your father is or mother is owner of the household. So it actually shown us, and we do this free-based tenancy regarding the rural area of Buševec, and kind of we did have good, let's say, data. I didn't put it here what was energy consumption and energy poverty. We have a YouTube video of the first thematic seminar where I showed those kind of data. But maybe interesting thing that we have one tenant that is living in the household that's kind of got energy renovation. So he's living in the better, because as Vlasis said, mostly those households are not in the good condition. So in city of Zadar, we have also visited households, but we have more, let's say, we kind of have better data in with the are you owner, with the credit loan, and our focus was in this red circle. So if you are a tenant or you are living as a tenant, but you are not paying the rent. And also for city of Zadar, it's interesting that focus was on gender issue, and this is the survey that we have done it with Red Cross Zadar. So we kind of have an idea of someone who is living there to approach us, because it is hard to reach them, and focus of this seminar is to how to reach them and how we in Croatia reach them. So we first one, I forgot maybe to tell this, in this Buševec area, we have volunteers, and the survey was approximately 30 minutes. In this, we have subcontracting Red Cross, and also the survey was around 30 minutes. In the city of Križevci, it was also kind of a joint initiatives with the POWERPOOR project. We visit 220 households. There is POWERPOOR toolkit created for this project, but this POWERPOOR toolkit don't include this ENPOR. It was something that we add later because it was interesting for us, and we are visiting those households. Why not use the survey? Also, interesting thing is that also Red Cross was the one that reached those households for us and do the survey. And you can see that also this red circle is something that we have more focus, and also you can use the age to see how many of them are actually living in a joint households, because if you are in 20s, you are probably not owning the household, but when you are going to the more advanced age, you can see that there are different, you have opportunity to buy your real estate or not. And for the last, we have done the City of Zagreb results. It was EPAH technical field. So it was the last survey. We have more experience to do the analysis, but we have a lot of problems with capital city people. Citizens are not open to do this kind of survey. We have done around 388 household visits. Our plan was 500, so we kind of didn't reach. And it was a mix of the volunteers and agency to do for us the survey. And you can see that the data that we have some of the citizens that are in the property that they don't know, but they are not paying the rent, or they are renting. Like City of Zagreb is the bigger city, and you have more shares of the ones that are in maybe landlord-tenant situation. And for the end, I just want to show you, I don't know if the slide will be on, but it's the video of Red Cross visiting the household in city of CREES under the POWERPOOR project. So this is how they have done it. It's small video. So this is the video how the Red Cross has done it for us, and what was our lesson learned from this. Due to high demand for the workers in Croatia, it's difficult to motivate volunteers, especially students, to set aside their time, do the survey for you, and to kind of, they want to maybe use this time that they have not to volunteer, but to earn much need money. Our best version is to do cooperation with Red Cross and maybe similar organization that you have in your countries. Also, the length of the questionnaire is very important. 30 minutes was really on the brink. It was okay for the Red Cross or maybe volunteers in Buševec area that were small area, people know each other, so they are more open. But if you are knocking on door, let's say in City of Zagreb, that's many capital city, they are not open to spend 30 minutes for you doing the survey. Of course, financial data are not so keen to share, like you cannot get data how many they are spending on energy in terms of the money. And GDPR, I put question mark on this, maybe it's for the discussion. It's the problem that when you do the survey on the field, you have data, you create good measures for the local authorities, you co-design maybe programs for the local authorities, for the national authorities that are really interested in Croatia data. But in the end, when there is a public calls for, let's say, renovation of the buildings, you still don't know where these households are, because it's a problem. You are trying to do the GDPR, do the data protection, but when city or, let's say, Križevci come to us and say, like, you have done 200 household visits in our area, do you know the names, or do you know the households who are really in the worst condition? We want to help them. You don't know, because the surveys were really like anonymized and the data protection is in. So this is my, like, I go through the presentation, and if you have question, we can do it in the discussion.
Thank you, Anamari. I think it's very useful, and we see some nice examples from Croatia. I would say that for the questions, you can use also the chat or the Q&A session here. And of course, everything will be streamed, and you can send questions afterwards to the speakers, as it will be online in YouTube. Now, let's go to the Greek example from Vicky Tzega from EKPIZO, which is a consumers association. Vicky, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. You can see my presentation or not?
No, not yet. Yeah, now yes. No, not. You have to do it again.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Vicky Tzega. I'm a legal advisor in EKPIZO. EKPIZO is based in Athens. It's a consumer association, and our role is to protect consumer rights and improve the quality of life. And we are not governmental and not profit organization. We have over 20,000 members, and we have given so far personalized information and services to more 500,000 consumers. We have returned a lot of money to members. via out-of-court action and also through legal action, collective class actions. We participated in more than 100 EU national projects, and we presented in several committees, and we are also a member of 5 national European International Federation. In EKPIZO, we want to seek energy for all. We focus on energy poverty. Our vision is to reduce energy poverty, and we're trying to improve at national level the legislation and the enforcement framework. We want also to assure the consumers' energy right, also now during the crisis. And our vision also is to provide information, support, and education in order to activate the consumers. Our intervention is the information, education, and training the consumers. We give them legal and technical support. We are conducting several surveys in order to gather information about the problems that are facing here in Greece. We advocate and lobby at EU and also at national level. And we have also several strategic partnerships between stakeholders here in Greece, also at EU level. Our activities in energy field is that we have since 2017, energy an internal energy department, and the program that we are running internally is the Energy for All. We are a member of BEUC, and especially also we are very active on an energy expert team. We participate in funded energy project, and we support also several EU projects. We were one of the 5 final winners at EU level. We collaborate with the EU and local stakeholders in order to tackle energy poverty, and we were working very hard to simplify energy bill content. We have contacted so far 4 resources, one for energy poverty and energy bills. The second one is the impact of COVID on energy consumption and the behavior of Greek household. We have made also research on energy bills and the content. And the last one is a subsidy of electricity bills through the POWERPOOR platform and the problems that the consumers are faced. We have also made one campaign for clean energy bills, and also we have made a mystery shopping for pre-contractual information, and we have submitted this mystery shopping at RAE, regulatory authority. Also now we're going to finish a study for the clean energy bills for all citizens in EU. In this study, we're going to analyze the content, the structure, and the format of the electricity bills in EU 27, and it's going to finish at the end of spring. Our activity now regarding the consumers, as I have already told you, we provide information, education, and support them through our website that is very rich concerning the energy issues, through social media, press releases. We have very good collaboration with ministries, also with journalists here in Greece. We have made very often TV and radio interviews, and campaign and workshops. We have published also a book for energy poverty in stepping program. We made a leaflet. We are having also newsletter, conferences, and seminars. We provide tailor-made advice, oral written, not only to our members, but non-members, and we're handling the complaints, and if necessary, we undertake actions to sell them. Regarding now the competent national and EU authorities, we participate in public consultation and also making legislative proposals. We're sending letters and holding meetings with ministry, also the regulatory authority. We have very good relation with RAE. We made workshops with them, seminars, conferences, also campaign for saving electricity in October. With energy suppliers, we sent letters and holding meetings, and also we have submitted 2 collective actions in court, I guess also 2 energy providers here in Greece. Main conclusions with all this involvement that we made in EKPIZO, we concluded that there is a lack of trust from consumers towards government and energy suppliers. Also, unfortunately, many people are affected with significant economic damage. There is a lack of information education to consumers. A lot of people, the consumers, they complain to us that it's very difficult to them to pay the electricity bills in due time. And also there is energy poverty and energy exclusion here in Greece. Our proposal is to exchange best practices for the affordable energy, to foster the role of energy suppliers so as to provide existing new debts in installment, grid tariffs, arranged more easy to pay for the consumers. Also apply better practices and in order to give the consumer, the energy suppliers, more clear and precise information, because we have a lot of complaints concerning the transparency in the contractual terms and conditions, in the content of the bills, also the communication from the customer service from the energy suppliers. Also, we want to create trust, disseminate solution in order to ensure that all the consumer continue to have access energy supply. Energy, there is a need of energy boost, environmental responsibility, sensitivity, empower the role of consumers through special schemes such as energy poverty and energy communities. Deep retrofit measures from the government in collaboration with local stakeholders. There is a program here in Greece, the name is Save at Home program. The communication is very important, and the availability of financial scheme in order for the consumer to renovate their houses is also very crucial. The promotion of the collaboration between the consumer organizations and government, it's very also important, because we have every day close collaboration with the consumers, and we gather information about the problems that are facing in energy field. Ensure the consumer support from a local team of people. Their role is very important, municipalities, NGOs. Facilitate the access to one-stop shops to all low-income, vulnerable tenants, landlords, property owners, and building managers. Actually, here in Greece, in EKPIZO, we're going to have at the end of 2023, at the beginning of 2024, a one-stop shop inside EKPIZO, and we're going to communicate all the financial schemes that they are here in Greece in order to help the vulnerable consumer to renovate their houses. For the Foundex, now there are two projects that we participate now. The first is at consultant level, and the findings from REACT group is that is very important to enable the role of municipalities and to establish, of course, a network with the participation of all the NGOs and also the stakeholders. And regarding the second one, that we are partnering also with a collaboration also with CAPE and the National Technical University, we're going to conduct a survey also in order to gather the information, the problems that the consumer are facing with energy poverty issues. We're going to engage also energy poverty ambassadors for approaching the energy poor households, and to collaborate with social service units of the municipalities. We have very close collaboration with them. We have made a lot of contact, and they're going also to help us regarding the survey that we're going to conduct. In EKPIZO, our core is that we want a well-informed and active energy consumers and not leaving anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicky. And it's the role of the consumer organizations then is quite interesting, and it's also I keep the word on the one-stop shops because there's always so many debates on whether they work or not. But it's good that we see it's practical, and you have managed to do something on that, which is quite an important insight. Maybe we can get more insights from that. Then, not to lose the moment, the role of the presentation, we go on with the next presentations, and then we can come up with some questions that have already coming up. So Martijn Rietbergen is a colleague of ours also from the Hogeschool in Utrecht. And Yeah, we're going to listen more on how the tenants are being approached in all of these long programs of the Netherlands on the energy box. Martijn, the floor is yours.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, Martijn.
Yeah, okay, great. Yes, I'm indeed Martijn Rietbergen from HU University of Applied Science in Utrecht. And I will share some insights how we have reached the tenants in the context of the energy box program that was under investigation in the ENPOR project. And results was also gathered by the information from JMA, which is the company that is carrying out the program for the energy box. So a few topics that I would like to share with you. So first of all, a few words on what the energy box program is and what type of promotion materials are being used to engage the citizens or the tenants. Second, we have carried out some experiments or research amongst the tenants and especially their response to the promotion materials. And several ideas for increasing the response rates among different target groups was also suggested. I will tell a little bit more about that as well. So first of all, a few words on the energy box program. The principal idea is that of the energy box program is that if people have insight in their energy bill, then they also can start changing their behavior and reduce their energy consumption. The energy box program works with local job seekers that are being trained as so-called energy coach. Then the energy coach pays a visit to the tenant to discuss their energy consumption. And during the visit, or sometimes before or just after, the tenants also receive a real physical box of energy-saving products that you can also see here on the right. And the tenants also receive an advisory report with several ideas or tips how to save energy. Originally, the energy box program was not specifically intended for people living in energy poverty, but in principle for all type of households, but also households with low incomes. But yeah, since the energy crisis, the main focus is also now on energy poor. It's good to know that the use of promotion materials and real engagement of energy box with tenants takes place in the very beginning. So when people apply for the box and the meeting with the energy coach. At this moment, the energy box program is active in 17 municipalities, and that is increasing, of course. And in the past 10 years, more than 45,000 residents have been reached through this program. There are several promotional materials in place. So, of course, the energy box itself. People can listen or learn more about the energy box program during meetings in their own neighborhood. There are several flyers and promotion materials, and also people receive official letters from the municipalities with the suggestion to participate. During the project, we also made an inventory of all the ways of communication that the energy box program is using, also in different municipalities. And it was quite striking that there is a huge variety of communication material and communication means. So this slide shows the different types of communications that are being used. Distinguishing from just emails, hard copy letters, posters, ads, radio commercials, door-to-door meetings, you name it. So that's really huge, the number of type of communications. An interesting analysis was made on different responses of several engagement strategies that was rolled out to tenants of people that rent from an institutional investor, so tenants in the private rented sector. In this table, you can see on the left the institutional investor, so the company that rents out the apartments. In the middle, you can see different types of strategies that were used. For example, email plus a poster and also a reminder. And then in the last column, you can see the response rate to the different strategies. So it's striking that there's a huge difference in the different strategies, ranging from just 5.7% up till almost 1/3 of the people that responded to the promotion materials. It's also interesting that we saw that there's relatively a high response rate among tenants that are new. So if you start living somewhere and then you confront them with the Energy Box program, that is much more effective than rolling it out to tenants that are already there for a couple of years. Another interesting observation was that the response is higher among residents that are living in an energetically better home. That's something that you would not expect, of course, but it's something that we should look into in more detail. And the last bullet point is, it's not very obvious, but it is obvious that if you also approach people in other languages than just the Dutch language, then your response rate is also higher. Coming back to this slide, of course, it's difficult to compare because it's different companies, it's apartment buildings in different areas in the city center, so it's difficult to compare the real reason behind the different response rates. And for that reason, also a small experiment was carried out in which we used different means of promotion or engagement materials to people that are living in 3 identical flats or apartment buildings. So different strategies were used. In flat number 1, a letter in popular language was used to engage people. And as a reminder, people paid a door-to-door visit. In flat number 2, we just sent a formal email and a formal letter as a reminder. And in the 3rd flat, a popular email was written and a note was left on the door as a reminder. Although the numbers are really small, you can still see a huge difference in the response rate. And what is also striking is that in the 1st flat, the impact of door-to-door visits are really effective. During the course of time, the Energy Box program and JMA, also based on the experiences in the ENPOR project, developed some additional ideas to increase the engagement. For example, on the left, you can see that also promotion materials in Arabic, so in other languages, were developed to increase the engagement. Also, different types of products were added to the Energy Box to make it more meaningful. Also, for example, by adding this automatic door closer that is especially interesting for student housing. We also had a couple of students that worked on the engagement strategies, and these are the results of their work. So they especially developed promotion material for their own target group as a student. So on the left, you can see a poster for attracting students. They also developed some kind of games that could be carried out to increase the engagement. And this one on the bottom is also very interesting, that currently students are not the ones that really dare to make phone calls nowadays, and for that reason also they developed an online platform or interface where people can sign up for the energy box. So to draw some conclusions from our experiences, it's obvious that there's no one-size-fits-all approaches. There are a variety of strategies that could help in the engagement of tenants. It's good to align your communication also with existing events, door-to-door visits, and also use more visual materials. As said earlier, door-to-door visits are definitely the best approach to engage people. Then it's very important to make engagement strategies that are really specific for target groups. So, for example, in the case of migrants and also people with financial problems, it might be good to also approach them through other social organizations to strongly cooperate with them to engage them in your energy box program. And the same goes for students. They might be better recruited via student associations and also through a more digital approach. And based on this research on the different response rates among the institutional investors, more research should be needed to understand those differences in the response rate. Thank you.
Thank you, Martijn. Indeed, the door-to-door visits seems to be one of the most common approaches being used in all the countries and that we've seen in ENPOR. And this goes beyond the cultural difference of the tenants in the various countries. So it seems to be the most prominent way. Thanks a lot. And then we move on to the last presentation before we go with some questions from Paula Damaška on how we can approach the tenants through, for example, the crowdfunding also practice you had for the energy boxes. Paula, the floor is yours. You're muted, Paula. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, great. And can you see my presentation or?
Yeah, we see the presentation. Just put it on the full mode.
Okay. Second. Okay, is it in full mode?
No, but it's okay. We can work on it like
Just
that.
a second. I'll detach my second monitor, so I think it'll be okay now. Just a minute. Okay. So hi everyone, and thank you, Anamari, for inviting me here today to gather some of your experience and to share some of mine. So I'm here to represent the Community Energy for Energy Solidarity, which is a project, Horizon project that I'm a project manager of. So I come from Green Energy Cooperative, which is a social enterprise that has 20 members from various fields, some of them being energy, economy, and as well as social scientists, which is where I come from as a sociologist. Besides conducting EU projects such as this one, we also give the citizens, we enable citizens to have a turnkey approach in implementation of solar power plants. So this is one of our main activities. So to go to CREES, the Community Energy for Energy Solidarity goals.
Sorry, I can jump on. We don't see the slides moving on. You're not still in the presentation mode. I could speak Croatian to you, but I don't know, it's still on the first slide. Now you are second, but maybe you can move like this on, like now you are on third slide.
Okay, to save time, we'll go like this then. Okay. Our goal is to validate energy community activities that support energy justice and alleviate energy poverty, where energy poverty is defined as a situation where the households are unable to afford energy services that support elements of human development. Energy communities are a loose term here because in Croatia we don't have a definition. We don't have a concrete definition of energy communities. So these are collectives that support democratic and equitable transitions towards local and efficient energy systems. And energy solidarity is defined as interaction with people affected in energy poverty, raising awareness of this problem, as well as establishing relations in community that create networks of energy initiatives and energy solidarity. So we have 10 partners, you probably recognize some of them, and we have 6 practicing partners. By that I mean pilots. So Green Energy Cooperative is one of them, and we are trying to test the ENERCOP model of collecting donations to alleviate energy poverty. So we are, seeing as we are not energy suppliers as ENERCOP is, so they can collect energy surplus and they can collect donations in energy, which then they monetize and use for campaigns that alleviate energy poverty. So we have first approached energy suppliers in Croatia, which were not as responsive because they're quite rigid. They have firm systems that are not as flexible as we wanted them to be, so they weren't as open to piloting at such small scale to test this model. So we have adjusted our approach, and we have divided our campaign into 2 parts. So the first part is already done, and this is the collection of micro donations from citizens. And we did it. We collected half of the goal amount in 2 months from citizens. So basically this was crowdfunded, and we have collected individual donations from 189 people, and where the average amount of donations was 45.5 euros. So now we are on to the second part of our pilot, which is collecting money from socially responsible companies, where we are trying to match this amount that we have collected through citizens and match that and have the goal of 17,500 euros collected. This money is going to be used and is currently being used to buy energy efficiency packages. So here you can see what they consist of. Our energy efficiency packages are, as I can see, quite similar to the energy boxes that we just now heard about. So LED lights, we have 6 LED lights, 1 door brush, window sills, 12 meters of them, 1 extension cable with a switch, reflective foils for radiators, 6 meters of that, and 2 faucet aerators, 1 for the bathroom and 1 for the kitchen. So using this energy efficiency kit, a household can annually save up to 1,300 kilowatt hours of heat energy and up to 370 kilowatt hours of electricity. So that comes up to about 200 euros annually, which does not sound a lot, but for financially a bit unstable household, this is a big impact on their situation. So when we come to how we identify the energy poor, we have found the statistics from the Bureau of Statistics of Croatia by indicators of poverty and social exclusion, because we don't have energy poverty as a defined problem in Croatia. that people over 65 are among the most at risk from poverty in Croatia, and about 500,000 of Croatians doesn't manage to pay their bills on time. This number obviously increases in this rise in energy prices, as well in combination with poor isolation, inadequate heating systems. The buildings are wasting energy unnecessarily, and the households have to pay more and more to compensate for these losses. So we have identified the energy poor as those who are above 65 years of age and are beneficiaries of either the National Allowance for the Elderly, either minimum guaranteed compensation, compensation for the vulnerable buyer of energy product, or which have or people who have pensions up to 400 euros. So we have by now identified 100 households and visited them and gave them the energy efficiency kits. And so this is with the half of the goal amount of money that we are going to collect. And we are concentrating on Zagreb and Zagreb County. So how have we got to those energy poor households? So the collecting of registrations was surprisingly a harder part of this pilot. So collection of money, which I expected to be the hardest one, was actually easier than collecting registrations or end users. We have gone through Red Cross initiative collaboration. So they have a social shop where all of the beneficiaries of above mentioned measures to alleviate poverty, they come there, and then the Red Cross initiatives disseminates food and hygiene products for them. So they have invited their users to come to our presentation about our energy efficiency kits, and this is a part of registrations, where a part of registrations came from. Then we went to all of the centers for social welfare in Zagreb, and we disseminated flyers and posters on spot. Also, we contacted Retirees Union of the Republic of Croatia and invited them to disseminate to their users this information about our pilot. Also, we did the same thing with local boards and counties, and we disseminated a number of flyers into public institutions where we thought a lot of retired people and older people gather, so such as public libraries, public clinics, pharmacies, and public kitchens also. We also did radio visits where we talked about our pilot, our project, and invited people to join, or as a donator or as a registrator. Also TV visits, public posters, and city lights. We also had 2 months of city lights with the main information about how you can be included. And what helped best through this part of the project is actually recommendation. So from people who already are recipients of the energy kit, when they talked to their friends and recommended us as people who come to their home and do something good and bring this for free, then we received more registration. So by word of mouth, which we thought is probably because of lack of trust from people who are in need to public institution and such programs, who basically probably their experience is that they are told that they will get something, but then they have to give something in return, or the help never gets to them. So this is, I think I stayed in 10 minutes of my presentation, hopefully. For any additional information, here is my contact, and you can ask me now or later via mail if you want to. I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you very much, Paula. So we have so from what we saw, there is different approaches in how to engage the tenants, and I think that's quite interesting for the practitioners who are going to follow, and the seminar afterwards in their emails and through the video, but also through a short paper we're going to issue. I would just to wrap up with everybody, and maybe that would be an interesting kind of a question actually, which you could say easier to wrap up with everything. Based on what you have seen, maybe you could just go again in the same sequence or as you feel like, and to tell us what would you consider now from your experience as the best option to engage, let's say, volunteers or subcontracting to some other organization or public authorities such as social services. What would be from what you saw that worked or didn't work? Because we'd like to know also what didn't work. I mean, we saw the good examples, but let's see also what you tried that didn't work out. So maybe let's go with the same sequence. We can just do it in a short note to get a feeling from all of us. Anamari, perhaps, go ahead.
Yes, for us, the volunteers was in the end the worst case because, as I said, we have really high demand in Croatia for the workers. And if you are targeting students to do the volunteers for you, they will not do it. And we need those data. Actually, ministry is really keen to have this ENPOR POWERPOOR data, and they're expanding that. And you have availability of the projects to do it. But the problem is that if you don't write in your projects the subcontracting, it becomes a problem. For us, EmpowerMed, we write that subcontracting for the Red Cross because we live in Zagreb. Zadar is 300 kilometers from us. My experience that if you're not in the place where you are doing the survey, it's best to have money for the survey, and Red Cross is for us the best, or Caritas is the best solution because social welfare system have a lot of things to do. They are not keen to do it, and Red Cross and Caritas are also dealing with people that are not in part of social welfare system. So they are maybe households that are on the edge of the energy poverty, and you are getting data that if you are just including social welfare system, you don't have general data. We only do the general data for the city of Zagreb and Buševec. There we target general public. Zadar, we target Red Cross, who actually is dealing with maybe poor households more, so data will be different. So our experience is to do, actually in Zagreb, in the end, we really tried with volunteers, but we in the end left with not just doing with Red Cross, we need to engage the agency, and it was all in friendly, like, please do it for us, because they are started to refuse to do big surveys in the, let's say, capital cities or something, because cities are not open to open the door and do the survey, or maybe even in Paula case, they have energy boxes and still they have problem.
Okay, no, clear. Actually, then this is again Croatia, and it's again related to the Red Cross. Maybe Paula, from your side, what didn't work also in this part, or what worked well that you see that you would advocate for in terms of how to engage?
Well, like I said, the thing that worked most is word of mouth. So I think that the trust issues are really at a high level in Croatia, is all I can say. So yes, in Croatia, when we were also in a marketplace, and we stood there and gave flyers out to people over 65, and the response was so low that it was really quite sad that no one stopped and listened to us. We also had a big sign like free LED lights, everything was displayed. I think it was quite obvious that we were handing out something for free, and no one, I mean, maybe 4 registration came from a whole day of standing there and trying to talk to people. And when you try to make them stop and try to make them listen to you, they just went away. Oh no, the state, they will take something. How much does it cost?
Okay.
They don't believe you, basically. So once we started with the registrations, with going to the households, and once we started telling them to talk to their friends and their siblings, maybe, or their someone they know from the neighborhood, their neighbors, about this project that we're doing, then the registration came a bit faster with a better pace. So yes, I think it's very, very important to somehow get their trust level a bit higher, and for the information to go through channels that they already have, not through maybe something that I thought would work was those flyers and posters, but
okay. So it's more mouth to mouth. That's what I mean, through people that speak directly and mouth to mouth, passing the information.
yes,
Yeah, that's the safest way. Okay.
Because
okay.
when the end users saw us and saw that we are nice and that we help them and that we talk to them, something that is very important is building trust with the end user and talking to them not only about their energy bills but also about their daily struggles, so they need to feel some kind of warmth from you, and then they recommend it, and this is what works.
Clear. That's important. No. Vicky, then from your side, as a consumer organization now.
Yes, actually in EKPIZO we have our own members, and it's very easy for us in order to gather information because they know us. We send them also newsletters every month now. It was in the past actually every 2 months, and now it's only 1 month, and it's more easy now to get information from them. Also, we have a very good collaboration with the media here and with a journalist here, and we publish a lot of press releases, and this it's very convenient for us in order to pass the information. And we have also very good also relationship with the local authority, with municipalities. They know us because we collaborate with them, and also we organize conferences and also special meetings in order to also to give information for, or not only for energy, for other also issues, because we are a consumer organization, and this is more easier. Actually, we've made a lot of meetings with the municipalities, and they are very positive in order to inform they also people, and also to gather information for the more valuable ones. They have also local social workers, and it's more easier for them to gather information also for the people that they need, and they suffering from energy poverty. Yes, it's for us it's more easy.
That's clear. Just for me to understand, the members that you mentioned from your organizations are individual.
Individuals, yes, consumers.
Okay,
yes, yes.
And these are registered to you, and they have gained trust with you over time. It has taken time to build it up.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
So indeed, in a way, you have the luxury, in a way, to build this relationship, to grow over time, and from them, actually, then you could identify the tenants when they are in this, or you just send the email to all. And they come back to you. You send to all, and then you try to find the tenants from them.
Yes, it's more easy because they trust us, they know us, and it's more easy for us. And actually, the good collaboration that we have with the municipality is an asset also.
Okay, but would you, let's say, somehow advocate or propose that even for the other countries, because we try to get some lessons here, that even for the other countries, getting in touch with a consumer organization who is part of, I think you're part of BEUC also, would work out, and maybe that's the safest way, a more, let's say, effective way rather than going completely bottom up. I mean, if let's say the communication to the tenants happens through the national or a local consumer association, you would advocate for it, that it could work out eventually, easier than just stopping everybody and asking. Vicky, the question goes to you.
For me, okay. Yes, why not? Yes, through BEUC, maybe, yes, why not? Because in BEUC there is a special also energy group, and also they are involving all the consumer organization, and it's more easy also, yes, to inform about all the project, the European project that you are running, and maybe it's going to be a more close collaboration with the consumer organization, because it's more easy, because they know the consumer organization, and they know that they're evolving in more social way, and it's going to be more easy for them in order to gather this information. It's sensitive information, And there's still problem with the GDPR, but they are also special rules and we must respect, but I don't think there is a problem.
You know, we just consider it as a first door opener, which is going to be, I mean, if it perhaps both ways, I mean, are fine, or, you know, as we saw in Croatia through the other organizations, through the consumer organization, both are working as a door openers. And then the mouth-to-mouth would work for sure. That would be the ultimate part, you know, I get it. Okay, and maybe from the Netherlands, Martijn, also with you, how would you see that? As also what failed in terms of when you or what was difficult and what works well?
I mean, also when listening to other presentations, I think it's important to realize that we need several stakeholders to increase the response rate and the engagement. So, for example, of course, you need in the Netherlands the organization that owns the energy box. That's where it starts. But you also need the municipality to pinpoint where your target group is. So, based on, for example, income data. You also need the owners of the apartments, because it's nice to inform them that you are going to talk to their tenants, and you also need social organizations or so-called champions in the area to meet your target group, and even we also should involve maybe communication professionals to increase the response rate there. So it's not. I think the responsibility is not just for one specific type of organization, but we need to form a kind of group to find the best strategy for each target group.
Clear. Yeah. Clear. Okay, so I think now we're past 10 minutes over, so I would thank you very much for, I would like to thank you very much for the participation. It has been quite interesting. We're going to send, of course, to you the recordings, and everything will be published online. And we're going to come up with a short pager for the practitioners, because we have to distribute to all the ministries and agencies in the EU and, of course, to the Commission on what we saw as best practices from your own work and how it would work out and what lessons you can provide. Thanks a lot, Anamari, also for organizing it, and we'll be in touch in the next seminar next month with another topic. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.